This video is filled with fuel for your brain. If you've experienced writer's block, what am I saying? Every songwriter has experienced writer's block. Well, basically, use these tips and you'll get past your writer's block much easier. I'm going to share with you what I and expert songwriters use to speed up the process and actually come up with bomb songs. Are you ready? This is the Lyric Nerd. Make sure to subscribe if you want to live a happy life. Let's get started. Number 1. Random word generator and phrase generators. Just Google random word generator and you will find a bunch of websites to use. This is a gold mine of songwriting ideas. Here you will find words to use when you're experiencing a bit of a writer's block. It will give you too much random words that it's hard not to come up with another line for your song. It will give you words like strawberries, airplane, quickly, and whatever random word its algorithm wants to generate. Try using one and you might just find it handy. Number 2. The Thesaurus Trick. When you can't get enough inspiration for your song, try going to an online thesaurus and type in random words. Sometimes it only takes one beautiful word to spark a lot of ideas in your head. It also reminds you of better words to use in your songs. You may want to stop using the word bright too many times and use glittering instead. Pattison, a songwriting legend who teaches in Berklee, mentioned that using powerful verbs affect the quality of your songwriting. Go check the thesaurus to see if there are better verbs to illustrate your ideas more effectively. One more benefit of using the thesaurus is that it can give you better words to help you rhyme your lines. Number 3. 5 random artists. One very common problem we songwriters have is that we often feel the need to sound like our idols. But guess what? We can never sound like our idols. And that's something I still remind myself up to this day. We can only try to copy our idols to an extent, and that limit is where all our natural style comes out. To get rid of the idea that we have to sound like our favorite songwriters, try listening to 5 random artists you don't normally listen to. It will not only spark creativity in your brain, but it will also remind you that the greats don't all write songs the same way. Try to be comfortable with letting your own personality come out in your songs. Tip number 4. Line repetition. Don't ever feel guilty about repeating your lines in your songs. It's very normal and even the greats do it. Michael Jackson's iconic song, The Way You Make Me Feel, has the line, ain't nobody's business, repeated so many times, and it's considered a very well-written song. Just make sure to be smart about it and not compromise your message. Sometimes there's this 4-line verse you want to write, but you just can't seem to think of that last one. Don't be shy. Just repeat out that 3rd line if you think there's no hope. No shame in doing that. Number 5. Drunk hum. If you want to create spark in your brain, try to act like a drunk guy humming. Even try to mouth words that don't exist and you might be able to come up with actual smart lines. Even popular songwriters like Chris Brown use this technique. It will not only give you lyric ideas but also possible melodies. Tip number 6. The big idea. There are no rules in songwriting, but this might be helpful for you. When you're writing about broad topics like love, it's easy to get lost in many different directions. Try to think of the big idea in your song. Love is not a big idea. It is an enormous category. What about love do you want to talk about? The truth is, it's easier to write about one specific story or feeling than your whole relationship with your special someone. It's easier to write about the old love letters than your whole breakup. Think of the big idea in your song to make things easier for you. This is just a tip, it's not a rule. And finally, tip number 7, screw this. Songwriting is a skill that you can get better and better at, but even expert songwriters can have bad days. Expert painters will have days when they can't come up with something nice. It's still nice to try though, but there will be days or parts of days that you really might not be able to write songs. when you've spent at least 2 hours not coming up with a song idea, or it feels too forced to continue, it's okay to say screw this and continue later or some other day. Again, these are not rules for songwriting. Other people might say they never repeat lines in their songs. That's valid. What's not valid is for people to make rules about songwriting. I will never think that there are rules in art. There are guidelines or patterns. In jazz, there are standards. There are jazz standards, but some of those standards sound so different. So, yeah, try these out because they worked for me. If they work for you, then make sure to knock on my door and give me a bottle of ice cold beer. You're watching The Lyric Nerd. Subscribe now.